Sometimes it's helpful when I communicate to others um, what I've shared in the past. Um, but because I'm going to show you something on the camera here that I experienced last night, because what I've shared in the past about the relationship that I have with others and working with others, and that would be particularly true of those that are RH negative. Nathan is O negative. Misha is O negative. Okay. So as I've shared with you before, um, the plan is when I work with O negatives or any RH negative, being an oversoul polarity integrator, it means that we run on direct current, pre-phase matter, states of consciousness, which is an eternal sun, which is eternal unconditional love. So what that means is we cancel out the clocks, cancel out the right and left side, or if you will, cancel out the RH negative bloodline, cancel out the RH positive bloodline. You cancel out both polarities. Now you're not experiencing polarity. No drama. Zero. So we run on direct current. Okay? For self-evident reasons. So I realize how the competitive nature of consciousness, when you're inside of a healing center, a Nomi planet, when it comes to healing the all creation. Okay? So it's not about one or the other. It's about all creation. So that the all creation is equally experiencing what we are, which is eternal love. Okay? Which is everything in the mirror. Which means everything you are, I am. No matter what it is. Okay? Because it began with what we experience, which is what love is. That's the eternal spirit of fire. Okay? So I've made some comments in the past about Nathan, right? And if you will, those folks that, for the reasons that they choose, because of when you think of how much energy that you want to invest in anybody that we communicate, that we form an association or relationship with, how important it is for us, right, to share what it is that we are with others, that others choose not to give them any more time and energy, right? And you could sort of apply this by applying the consciousness, the application of consciousness, and an APIN system in working with others, right? So you realize that eternity is never going to give up on one of its own, another face of eternity, in the all creation, right? And so that's the nature of my spirit as a polarity integrator. Okay, and so because I've worked with Nathan in particular, right, for a number of years now, right, I have managed, as I've mentioned in the past, the strides, the incremental growth, because of the amount of energy, particularly with indigos, that we have anchored in here, and the higher currents, we can experience the effect or the impact, if you will, in the future. What we experience in us, we experience through them. The torque speed differential on how fast they're healing by virtue of us experiencing how that works in time density, or what's known as time and duration, which is exposure. How long they've been exposed and what they're being exposed to, and the reaction state of what they're being exposed to, we experience. So I have experienced what has made me cry. And that is particularly true when I saw what Nathan did last night. He came by and knocked on my door, and he had a coconut where he had taken his time and his energy, where he could be using his time and energy to do whatever he chooses to do. And instead, he took his time and energy to split open a coconut, right? So you know when you split open a coconut, you get a coconut ball, a round ball, a sphere, right? And it's got the three little holes, just like on a bowling ball, right? 3 fingers, 3, relationship between 1 and 3 and 1. One molecule of H2O cools 300 units of a BTU, a British thermal unit, right? Raising the temperature of 1 pound of water, 1 degree Fahrenheit. Oh, 1 degree, huh? Now we're back to degrees. Now we're back to degrees, longitude, latitude. Now we're back to the cross, the single cross, the first cross, the center point inside that cross with the center points inside a sphere. How about an eternal sphere, an eternal engine, eternal spirit of fire engine that's on fire to create? So when I went to the refrigerator last night, guess what was in my refrigerator? That's enormous growth. I love you too. When they experience the love that you have in your heart, they experience in them. That cuts through the resistance. Now the codes will fire. The frequencies are activating. That's what we do. That's why we're here. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not experiencing what love is, you're not experiencing what we are. Okay? So I have a responsibility. The Eternal Son has a responsibility to heal you. Right? Because that's what it began with. So the idea is that you don't ever remember from whence you first began. Because that's who we are. So when I know that you're experiencing what I am, what love is, you're experiencing love in you. So that you can acknowledge that's what it began with. Because that's an eternal gift. That's the eternal gift of electrons and light that goes on forever loving you. See? And so I want to thank you, Nathan. I love you too with all my heart and soul forever and always. And these are called measurements. You know, how it works, particularly when you think of, you don't want to burn everybody up. You don't want to burn up a planetary motherboard. Right? So now we're back into meters. The dial on the meter. You know, just like the dial on a radio. Tune it in, baby. What frequency do you want? Right? 15D. Right? Oh, that's a 1 and a 5. What is that, a 6? 528. 15, huh? I know, and the negative 13 reversal current. And so now we're back into counter space. Counter space moves. And checkmate. Yeah. The Eternal Son. So thank you all for being here. What a beautiful day. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Kama lohati. Sha Na Na. Silence.